Alright guys, I want you to imagine what it would be like for death to be a controversy. For Marilyn Monroe, her death is and will always remain a controversy. There are many questions that have been unanswered, speculations. Today I'm gonna inform you about some of the main events that happened prior to her death and some things that are not known from the main public. I didn't know, which I was curious about, and so I did my research, and there are some things that I never even thought would actually be controversy, but it is. So today we're going to talk about her. I'm going to tell you a little brief history, her relationship with the President JFK. We're going to go into some brotherly love, what I call some brotherly love, and we're also going to talk about the night of her death. Before we can dive into any of these, first we have to learn a little bit about her and her history. She was born June 1st. Her given name was Norma Jean Mortensen, and she was baptized as Norma Jean Baker. She was from Los Angeles. Most of her childhood she lived in foster care, and then she gradually moved into her career of modeling, which eventually led to a film contract in 1946. Some of her most memorable movies were Flash by Night, Niagara, and Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friends. With that brief little history, now that we have learned a little more about Marilyn Monroe, we can focus on the events most people remember her for. Of course, Mr. Kennedy. They met in 1954 and started a love affair since December of 1961. Crazy thing is, his wife, everybody knew, including his wife. One of her most memorable moments during this time is, of course, the Happy Birthday, Mr. President, when she sang Happy Birthday to him in May. And Jackie Kennedy did not show up because she didn't want to look that. Okay. A week after that, she heard that the president was actually going to end the relationship. It was just getting too messy. It was so public, and it was going to ruin his political chances for the next election. So what he did, how she found out, was that he changed the Oval Office phone number without telling her, and so she started to call the main house switchboard and demanding to speak to him, and they were given orders not to let her through, but she would be like, I'm Marilyn Monroe, and da-da-da. So she took it pretty hard. She went into she abused pills and alcohol. She went into rehab shortly after. After her and the president's breakup, she was approached by the general attorney at the time, which is Robert Kennedy, his brother, and at her home, and they had a brief discussion, not too brief, but he told her to stop calling the White House, and this eventually led to her connection to Robert Kennedy. During that meeting, it was 90 minutes, and he told her to stop calling. But in order to make up with that, because he felt bad, he gave her his personal number to at the Justice Department. This is at the end of June, early June. So what happened next was they started a love affair, and in June and July of 1962, it was long distance. They met often, and he also cut her off just without telling anybody. He just cut her off. He disconnected the phone number, and his family, his mom, his brothers all told her that he needed to cut ties off with her. They considered her a liability to any of the political careers for any of them. After that breakup at the end of July, she disappeared for about 3 days. It's speculated, but there is proof that she actually checked into a hospital under a different name and actually had an abortion. Everybody always says that it was John F. Kennedy, but many people think that it was actually Robert's baby, Robert Kennedy's baby. Marilyn Monroe, she was already heartbroken by the treatment that she received by the Kennedy family. That those closest to her said that she never understood why both brothers never had the courage to say goodbye to her personally. So the night of her death, she died 5 August 1962. It was said there was an overdose of barbiturates, and she was found by her housekeeper. Her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, she was staying in the house. She said that at midnight she saw her light on, and she got worried. She called her psychoanalyst, who is Ralph S. Greenson. When he arrived, he said that they couldn't open the door, so he went to the back and saw her on the bed naked with pills and like her hand was on the phone. So they broke the window, they got in, and he saw that she was dead, but he didn't call anybody until 4 hours later. He didn't call the authorities. He called, before he even called police, he called movie studios, and her psychoanalyst, Ralph Greenson. He called movie studios, business associates, prior to anybody being in contact as far as the authorities. The first police officer on the scene was Jack Clemens, and he noticed many inconsistencies. When he arrived, the housekeeper, she was actually cleaning. She had done the laundry. She had done the linens that on the bed where she was laid. She had taken it and washed everything, which was weird. It was really clean. And they asked her, why did you do that? And she said, well, it's because I knew everybody was going to be coming, and I didn't want it to be dirty, so I started doing it. So, and also with the psychoanalyst, it was weird that it took him 4 hours to call anybody before telling anybody that she was done, or even calling for help. When the cop got on scene, he noticed that Marilyn Monroe's body was in advanced rigor mortis, which means that she was already dead for at least 6 hours, which would put her death before midnight. And he did notice the pills, but there was no water, no glass cup, no water, no cup of water. And when he asked how would she have drinking all this soda without water, they said, the hospital was like, I don't know. And so there was nothing to drink with. So the housekeeper also said that there was no running water in the room, so there was really no way of her to really swallow the pills. According to the coroner, there was no proof of pills in her system at all. You would have seen her in her intestinal tract. Coloring also, it would have been yellow and something like that. Okay. So she died August 5th. There was only 40 people allowed to be at her funeral. She is buried in Westwood Village Memorial Park in Los Angeles, California. We got to know a little bit about her brief history. We went over her history with John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and some of the inconsistencies with her murder, some of the controversies surrounding it. I hope that you guys got something out of this. Do you guys have any questions?
It's kind of good to give you a source. Because now you're speaking on this like this has been posted as fact, and if it has, who is the source? And how credible are they?
Yes, I took this off of the federal FBI's investigation that they did when she died because of so many inconsistencies. They also found that all of the doctors and all of the people involved, they all changed the story multiple times after that. And no one has been brought to justice. They just kind of let it go, which is not right. Her brief history was from the book The Lives of Marilyn Monroe. Anthony Summers, 1985, published in 1985. Also,
Do you think this is a theory or is it fact?
I think it's a conclusion of both. Because if you say she died a certain way, but nothing adds up to it, and there's proof that everybody is lying, obviously you know that.
How are you presenting today at school? Because the way you were speaking is like it was like solid fact.
It was because
you talked to like JFK, because I want to know. Like we were like, ain't she, wasn't she done?
oh, she wasn't. Oh, my bad.
Cut that out.
Yeah, she was. She had 2 miscarriages and she had an ectopic pregnancy. Why are you so concerned?
How many times has she been married?
Go ahead, Pen.
3 times. She was married 3 times. She was married to James Doherty, Joe DiMaggio, and Arthur Miller.
Oh, I thought you were done.